Good day, everyone, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I'm your host, JJ, broadcasting in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And on today's show, I have a beaut for you. You know my guests from such legendary bands as Dangerous Toys, Watchtower, Broken Teeth, many more. And of course, Ignitor, who just released a brand new album last month on October 3rd called Horns and Hammers. Please welcome my guest, Jason McMaster. How are you, sir?
Yay, I'm
Bravo,
good.
bravo. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I'm
You.
good. Thank you for having me today.
And I appreciate you making the time and taking the time. How are things
Of
not?
course. Good. I about 7 years ago, I bought a house in Lockhart, Texas. It's about a half hour southeast of Austin because
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. Austin is crazy. And it's only a matter of time till the rest of the world finds out about your cool little town. And now it's arguably a cool big town. And it's still, a hotbed for a lot of cool high tech and music. There's a lot of artists here and film companies and Tesla and it's not the cool little, singer-songwriter blues rock and roll town that it used to be. Anyway, it pushed me out. They priced me out. So I had to come a little bit more rural, which I really like. So, I can park wherever I want for free. My property is big enough for, bang for my buck. And happy out here, me and my wife. It's great.
Awesome. So you have a little bit of
Yeah.
separation, which you appreciate.
Yeah, and I still, have to drive into town to play locally as well as do business I've been teaching and directing shows for School of Rock for 20 years next year. So, yeah,
Congrats
I
on that.
still
I was
I
going to bring up
thank
the School of Rock, so that's huge. I'm happy to hear that you're still a part of that.
Yeah, of course. And it's a great company. And obviously, I get to still be a working musician and, give some back, as I like to say,
They
through
offer you
the
that
School of Rock.
flexibility.
Yeah, it's great.
So 20 years you're coming up on?
Yeah, they hired me, and the guy that opened the Austin School of Rock in 2005 hired me. He calls me. He goes, "Hey, what do you think about being, the vocal coach, like the one vocal coach?" Now there's a bunch of vocal instructors there, of course. And I said, "Well, God, how do you do that?" He goes, "You'll figure it out. I'm going to put you down." I go, "All right." So like first couple months, I started later because everyone's chicken shit to be the singer, you know. So,
So
so
you
I
have to
didn't
get
have
over
any
the team.
students for a while, and then he heard me just messing around on one of the other instructors' guitars. So he started go, "Oh, you're as good as me on guitar. You need to be teaching guitar." So now they just loaded me up. To be confession here is the past couple of seasons I haven't been doing much teaching. I've been just directing shows, and I direct 4 shows up there, and I'm really only down to a couple of days a week, and I sub for other teachers and directors as well. Super flexible, super awesome. I really love directing shows because my favorite thing to do is figure out how that magic happened. Why does that bridge go where it goes in this or that song? What time signature is that? And we learn it together and we map the songs together. That's what, it's like a production. It's like Places Everyone, that's the kind of thing I really like to do. And then when, the group of kids that just met get the song off the ground, and even if it still needs work, that magic of just humans banging on wood and wire and creating something from nothing, that is what I live for.
And you get that going on, and
Yeah,
yeah,
chill
adrenaline boost.
bumps,
Yeah.
chill bumps, goosebumps. You call them what you want. It's good.
So that's coming up on 20 years. And then I was just realizing that it's been 15 years ago this month since the last time you and I were face to face, actually in person on the Shiprock cruise. And that's where we met for the first time back in November of 2009, which is crazy that that's 15 years ago. We've had a few
Yeah.
bump-ins through emails and phone calls along the way.
Yeah.
A few random texts here and there, but
Yeah.
where did that time go? And it's awesome though that we're still, connected.
Yeah. Well, that's important, and the things that connect us are the things that connect everyone who is a music lover, an art lover, a free thinker, and yeah, that's what it's all about. That Shiprocked, the one that you speak of when we did meet, um, you might have been the only one on board. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't mean to talk smack about others, but you might have been. That's better. The only one that knew sort of my history with progressive metal and other types of music other than just butt rock.
For lack
So,
of
and that's
better term.
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, yeah, it just seemed that it was easy chatting, and it was nice after where we're trading product with each other and that sort of thing. So that was cool.
Yes. Yes.
And then, we'll quickly jump. We can go back and forth, but quickly jumping to current times, you just released a brand new album with Ignitor, Horns and Hammers last month, available on Metal Records. How was that for you? And the latest single, Shattered Crosses, the video for that was just released a few days ago, and that's getting
right.
notoriety. How was that?
Yes. Fantastic. Metal on Metal has we've been working with them. It's a German label, and they've been great. And they're just, it's a small label, but they really care. They're in the metal markets at all of the metal festivals over there. So when festival season comes, they can knock on our door and go, "You got a record? You got a record ready?" So that's kind of, it takes us a couple of years to get one together, and that's just how it goes. And we started writing at the right time, and so it was about a year to get the record together, and we weren't doing it because they knocked on our door. Really, it was like coming up on festival season, and they ended up maybe a little late ringing the doorbell, and we were like, as a matter of fact, we did start 8 months ago or whatever, and yeah, we would love to do it again with you guys, and let's go. The record came together. A lot of the riffs came from Robert Williams, a guitar player that's been with us about 10 years now, and he really brought, I mean, half the record or more. The guy just knows how to write a classic, true heavy metal song. And, I say this in interviews quite a bit, and I hate to sound like, such a hater, but there's a lot of really bad power metal bands out there.
No, you're true.
And
it seems very forced, very forced.
Yeah, it's hard.
Not authentic at all.
Yeah, it's hard for me to press play on something. I'm afraid to press play on even a new Iron Maiden record. That'll give you just
okay.
Just hit you in the head with a reality, and as far as it goes for me, because I even looked at a set list Iron Maiden's currently touring with, and I was like, I knew 5 songs. Am I a bad Iron Maiden fan? Sure. But am I a huge Iron Maiden fan? Fuck yes. Now, the problem is me, not you.
It's not
and
your
yeah, and the albums, and they just, I guess, they just started to lose me. So back to Ignitor, I feel like some of the things that you're in a room together with your bandmates and you're putting tunes together, which is the way I feel like classic metal should be put together, is the proverbial sweaty basement or the garage, or it's hot. It's hot in Texas, but we have a nice air conditioned studio actually. But the idea, the fantastical idea that four or five guys get together and what do you got, and you're sharing riffs and you're coming up with these ideas and you're putting them together like the parts of a machine work together. And I feel like that's really the only way Ignitor knows how to do it. Sure, we can email song parts to each other and Frankenstein them together, but when you're playing just the raw riff together and it's only two or three of you because the other guys are just sort of inspecting and overlooking and watching, looking for the hooks and, going to join in when they get the gist of it. There's something special about that. And that's how Ignitor writes heavy metal songs. And I think that it shows. I would like to think that it shows because that it's the truth. Now, the lyrics and the melodies and things like that do come later. I don't go to all of the Ignitor rehearsals and wait for them to come up with something that's inspiring to me. I let them create something that will leave space for me to create and do my thing on top of their stuff, which is not always the case when you're writing a song with other partners, because it can become the musical differences start happening there because sometimes maybe it's not the case with Watchtower because it's everyone doing a solo all at the same time. And I'm doing a vocal solo on top of their solo,
Yeah.
whatever. The Ignitor, they're leaving space for the vocals, and that's nice. So I came up with some stuff to be proud of on this record. My lyrics they come different ways. Sometimes I have a title, sometimes I don't have any hook, and I try to, if I have a good phrase or a good hook or sometimes I'll write a list of what I believe to be cool titles for a project, for a band that I'm fronting, such as Ignitor. And sometimes I'll just have these really awesome titles that sound super metal. And sometimes a few of those titles end up being phrases in some of the lyrics for another title on the same page. So that's a one way to do it. And then Stuart Lawrence, the founding member of Ignitor, he has written a lot of lyrics for Ignitor Records. And on the last two, the Golden Age of Black Magic, I wrote all of it. And then this one, Stuart wrote one. He wrote the lyrics for Cyber Crush. He didn't have a title, but he had the 95% of that lyric, and I had to fill in some stuff and add words to the funny thing about Cyber Crush. He wrote those lyrics, and the first lyric is "I had a dream, a fever dream," and he literally had a dream and got out of bed, one eye open, and jotted down a bunch of truth that happened during his hyper sleep. And I love Stuart that way. He's hyper intelligent guy. He's one of the weirdos, he's one of those guys you want in your band because he's just an onion and so smart. And so he's really good to bounce that kind of stuff off and can fix any piece of art and make it better.
So a little eccentric, would you say?
I'm sorry?
Perhaps a little eccentric, maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Certainly. Proudly. Techie, right? And but very old school, and he loves, had an analog, part of his head is analog and part of it is welcome to making things easier using high tech. he confesses to using AI for some things, but not writing a song, not doing an album cover art illustration. But yeah, that's a whole other show, isn't it?
Yes, it
So
is.
yeah, so my lyrics, they sometimes they feel forced, and I don't like that. But if I stick with it, I can break down the wall, and I'm juicy. I start to gush, and that happened a few times on this record. Some of them were just like putting butter on the bread. Horns and Hammers is an older title that I came up with a couple of years ago, and I looked it up just because we were talking about what are we going to call what's the title track, and we have a song called Imperial Bloodlines, and Imperial Bloodlines, it's a great tune. It's totally about incest and keeping a true bloodline, and all of the sins involved with that. And I thought that would just lend itself to like this completely dark, baroque, fucked up album cover art. But everyone liked the title in the band. They really, really liked the title Horns and Hammers better than anything else. So anyway, it just rose to the top. I looked it up. I checked it. I Googled it. Horns and Hammers, and there's a pub in the Midwest somewhere that's, of course, called Horns and Hammers, and
How there's
it's
not a
got
Manowar album called Horns and Hammers is just
yeah.
bizarre.
How is there not? Right? It's too great.
That's a
It's too
given.
great.
Yeah.
But that's really the only thing. There might have been a couple of things that were related to sports teams or something like that, but it's a pub somewhere in the Midwest or even further north, and it had the devil, mask kind of thing, and it had some kind of, crossbone sort of, it could have been axes. I think that the pub has axe throwing. Here, let's get wasted and throw axes,
But not over
So-
dry swords and axes, though.
Right, right. So, but I think that that just that and the fact that it wasn't a song or a band or something like that was gave me free reign. Felt confident about it, and that's pretty much how the record came together. It has a cover, so we did a Saxon cover of Machine Gun, and invited our friends Ross the Boss to play a solo. Speaking of Manowar, and Mark Lopes did we did a duet, back and forth and together on verses and choruses. Came out very metal. Mark Lopes produced that video. Shattered Crosses came out 14 days ago, I believe, and we've garnered over 3,000 views, which is good for us,
Oh yeah, that's respectable.
Yeah. And
True views, not paid views. That's another story.
Right.
Yeah.
That goes with that other
Other
story.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say it's a really good throw. You mentioned Metal on Metal. We talked about Metal on Metal, and they've been great. And they've done the last three records, which I should mention that a buddy of mine talks about the trifecta, those three records: Haunted by Rock and Roll, Golden Age of Black Magic, and now Horns and Hammers. All three are with the current lineup. So 10 years and those three records. We should have like 6 records out in 10 years, but we don't.
Because you're slacking, you're not doing nothing else.
We're old and slow. Whatever you pick.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it, he's like it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 punch, and he was talking about how this lineup is it's a different Ignitor than it was 20 years ago. The band was formed in 2003, and once again, I'm a replacement singer, and if you will, right? First 2 records had my friend Erica singing, and they're fantastic. And those are Take to the Sky and Road to Bones, which are still available through the band's website. and ignitorband.com, by the way, plug there. So the band has changed. You know, when I joined, we did a record, Spider Queen. We did Year of the Metal Tiger, which is really strong. Um, and you know, there's a live album. I might be missing. We did a covers album called Mixtape '85, which has Venom and Exodus and Deep Purple and Priest and uh, did I say Venom? You know,
Yes, you did. Yep.
it was great. It was just so fun. Merciful Fate. We did into the Coven. Just a great sort of like a bouquet of why we're still doing this. And anyway, so yeah, I'm being told there's 9 Ignitor records out there, which is that's kind of a lot. So
It's
that's kind of yeah, that's kind of where we are. The what I wanted to mention, I'm sorry, long-winded here, is revoltvinylrecords.com is now taking orders for a domestic release of Horns and Hammers that has Machine Gun on it, because Metal on Metal doesn't release covers on their releases. And I find that interesting, but that's fine, whatever. So we always have to find that this happened again. This happened with the last record as well. We recorded Scorpion's Virgin Killer and didn't have anywhere to put it out. So, and then the pandemic hit, and we later found out that our last show in January 2020, just before the shit hit the fan, was actually recorded with stems digital at the gig. And a friend of mine sent me a rough mix, and I'm like, wait, where'd you get this? And he was like, oh man, Ernie at the club recorded you guys. And I'm like, send me all the stems. I sent it to Stuart. He mixed it. We made a record called Before the Plague, and the bonus track on that is Virgin Killer. So here we are again. So revoltvinylrecords.com is has a version of the CD that has Machine Gun on it, because if you buy the Metal on Metal version, it's got a live song from the gig I just talked about, January 2020 here live here in Austin. The song Hell Shall Be Your Home is the technically the bonus track on the Metal on Metal version. And you can buy that domestically without the crazy shipping from Germany from the band's website. Again, shameless plug, ignitorband.com.
And you're supporting the band directly.
Yeah, that's right. And pretty much the same with Revolt. It's a buddy of ours. He's got a label. He's working on putting the templates together for the vinyl release, which also will have Machine Gun on it. And it'll have some goodies inside that you just don't get with a CD or download. So, right. And we all love that kind of stuff when we buy vinyl. So that's kind of it. And like, sorry, I just threw up all over the room.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's info.
Yeah.
Info we need. And then even fast forward, even more.
Shattered Crosses. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Shattered Crosses. That video is doing well. And both are on YouTube, of course.
Yeah, you got an honorable mention at the Austin Short Film Showcase.
Yes, and the guy that produced Shattered Crosses, his company Penny Rock Productions, they're a great crew. They're local here in the Austin, Texas area, and they're winning awards nationally, not internationally, with a movie they made that's called Bloody and Bruised: The Story of the Back Room, which is a now defunct club of 33 years where Dangerous Toys was basically discovered. But everyone played there, from Nirvana to Pantera to Motorhead to Anthrax to, you know, it was small to medium-sized venue that, like I said, lasted a long time, and it's kind of legendary. I mean, you know, people met their husbands and wives there, and their kids were conceived in the parking lot, and, you know, that kind of just like, holy crap, you know, this, if the place could talk, it would yell at you, because it was punk and metal, and it's still holy ground. There's a venue called Emos that they basically had bought the venue and tore the roof off and raised the roof, you know, 50 feet, put a real rig in there, and now that it's a venue and not a bar, and it's called it's Emos, and it's a venue that holds like 2,000 people now. So Zach Sabbath is playing there in a couple of weeks. I'm going to try to go see. But everyone plays there. Testament, everybody plays there now, and it's in a lot of the bands that play there used to play the back room. So they're like, wait, this is so familiar. It's like a dream. They walk in and go, oh, here's the pole that was on the stage. Back room is famous for the pole that's in the middle of the stage. The pole is still there. It's not on the stage because they have a real rig now, right? But the pole is, if you're center stage, if you can point over to the right and go, I remember that pole. So anyway, it's a great, the trailers for Bloody and Bruised, the story of the back room, are all over YouTube, and the guys that shot Ignitor, Shattered Crosses are winning awards for that film. It's not technically out, it's just in the festival circuit. But yeah, Shattered Crosses, he's submitting all of his videos. He shoots videos for people, and he's just a great artist. He's just using a camera. And it's good stuff. Lots of cool stuff happening. But yeah, I Shattered Crosses is one of my favorite songs on the record, if I didn't say that already. So
it's pretty clear now. That's good.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, the 30th, the Toys are playing. Is this correct? We want to get this video out on time to try to do any last minute pimping of the show.
Yeah, yeah. It's the Toys' final show of the year, and then I front an Elton John tribute, and we're playing next week. So that'll technically be my last show of the year, and then the holidays here, as we know. But yeah, the Toys this weekend. Unfortunately, it's the same night as Wasp Armored Saint right down the street. But I think people could actually leave that gig and come to our gig and catch probably the latter half, if not more, 45 minutes or so of our 90-minute set. So
no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, come on down. It'll be a cheaper ticket. Maybe not. Shit. And then, come on down.
Come on down. And then looking ahead to January, Watchtower show. The what is it? The Cobra Cast birthday bash.
Yeah, that's right. You've got all your homework done.
Trying to get her done, yes. So that's January 18th.
Yes.
Now
that is at a venue called Come and Take It Live, which is next door to Emos. So it's still hollow ground. That's like where the back room, that's where a lot of crazy shit had happened. So it's, yeah, hollowed ground is what I should say.
Okay.
So tons of sacred land. Yes, historical.